Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to the DELMIA Operations World Tour 2020. Thank you for being part of our event that we organize online this year to make sure our worldwide audience can participate. My name is Veerle de Dekker and I'm the Marketing Director of DELMIA. But let me start with showing you the upcoming series of webinars in the next 4 days. As you can see on the screen, we have a full program of deep knowledge sessions in different industries. You will have the opportunity to listen to our customers presenting their DELMIA project, like Amy's Kitchen and Singapore Airlines in today's food session. Swiss Railway, SBB, on Tuesday in the train operations session. On Wednesday, our Brazilian cosmetic customer, Boticario, and our French cosmetic customer, L'Occitane, will present in the CPG Beauty and Care, and our customer Panasonic out of Japan in the high-tech track. And finally, on Thursday, we will have more testimonies from Slovenian Steel, Klaas Tractor, and Jayco. Apart from our customer presentations, you will also hear from our DELMIA experts about industry trends and innovative ideas. So I encourage you to check out all the other industry tracks we have organized for you during the next 4 days. And at the same time, I also take the occasion to thank all the customers and presenters, as well as the organization teams who have built such an interesting program for this week. Today in our first session, we welcome our CEO, Guillaume Vendroux, who talks about current trends and challenges and how DELMIA can play a role to help you, focusing on sustainable operations. Right after our CEO's presentation, Camilo Gaviria, our VP of Tech Sales, will dive deeper on how DELMIA and the 3D experience can support your business in a sustainable manner. Thank you again for joining the DELMIA Operations World Tour, and I hope you will enjoy all this week's sessions.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Guillaume Vendroux. I'm the CEO of DELMIA, the brand within Dassault Systèmes that focuses on operation and manufacturing, and I'm very happy to be with you today to be able to share with you the understanding that we have of the trend and challenges coming our ways as industrial actors, and obviously how DELMIA can help you or support you in meeting those challenges. So, what are the trends? What are those challenges? And I think that today it's obvious for everyone that sustainability is becoming an imperative. We see that at all levels of our society. I mean, the worldwide governance is already through the UN, United Nations, is today totally focused and aggressively promoting what they call the Sustainability Development Goals and trying to influence policy into making the global world more sustainable. We see that at the financial level, where today we see a shift. I mean, investors are not only looking at balance sheet to assess the profitability of a company, but are starting to include sustainability as an indicator of the long-term sustainable growth of a company, and that influences their policy. And obviously, we see that also at company level. Companies are getting into sustainability, are trying to get a sustainable image, and that basically for two reasons. The first one, very basic, is they have understood, or they start to understand, that the new generation will not work for a company that is not considered as being sustainable, nor will the young generation buy product that is not considered sustainable. And therefore, this is a key criteria or a key focus for companies to convince the society that indeed they are pushing in the right direction. The second reason why they are companies are focusing on sustainability as a topic is obviously related to the business. It's good business. It's good business on multiple ways. First, it opens new market opportunities, and that's obviously always interesting for companies. But second, they feel that through focusing on sustainability, they can improve their cost base in the company, for example, through energy savings. So for those reasons, they believe that the way to have a long-term growth is through sustainability focus. So obviously, for us industrial and us in the world of operation, what does it mean for us? What is sustainability, and how does it translate to what we all need to do? A common sustainability framework is based on 3 pillars: people, planet, profit. People, how socially responsible a company is; planet, how environmentally responsible a company is; and profit, obviously, how profitable a company is. So let's see here what are the key challenges between all those pillars for operation and manufacturing activities, and obviously how DELMIA can support progress into those 3 fields. So on that people pillar, we do feel that DELMIA can help. DELMIA can help on 3 accounts. First, it can provide a full modelization of the work environment so that at every step of the way we can make sure that this working environment is safe for our teams. Safe because it has been designed so that people can move freely around, and safe because we can simulate, for example, all the ergonomics of every workstation to make sure that people are comfortable in their daily work. Second topic on which we can help, we can set up and help set up with the 3D experience platform, with DELMIA, a highly collaborative environment in which people can interact smoothly, efficiently, where knowledge and know-how can be shared and capitalized. And third, through that collaboration, through this capitalization of knowledge and know-how, we can make that knowledge and that know-how actionable, and we can provide autonomy to the team, decision-making ability to the team, support to decision-making ability to the team, so that they can grow in autonomy and in personal developments. So human experience at the core of what, or improvement in human experience at the core of what DELMIA can provide to have a good working environment for our teams. Second pillar in sustainability, planet. And here, when talking about planet in the world of operation, let's go back a minute to the basic of operation or basic of manufacturing, which is lean manufacturing. And a lot of us do say on a regular basis, lean is green, because lean focuses on the just necessary, on what is just necessary for the customer satisfaction. And so this is the focus we need to have in defining the best plan, in eliminating the waste or the mudas, and in setting up and thinking about the way our activities are organized, not to do too much and just do what is necessary. And so obviously in that respect, in the lean approach to business, DELMIA can help. DELMIA can help because we will be able to model your operations. We will be able to provide you with simulations and evaluations of the efficiency of the operation you plan, and you will be able then to define the best plan possible. Okay? And that on the basis of a number of simulation, be it ergonomic simulation, be it workflow simulation, be it assembly simulation, that will make sure that whatever you do is strictly necessary to fulfill the client's needs. Obviously, we have added through time the ability to not only define the plan, but to execute the plan and feedback the model, feedback our simulation with the real data of the world, so that we can continuously improve the way we work. This is what we call the virtual twin experience, and this is a second axis of development of DELMIA. Third topic is profitability. I mean, we need to be profitable, and one of the key focus in there is agility and speed, and that takes particular sense when, for operation at large and manufacturing in particular, we are talking about supply chain. We need to be able to have a very agile and rapid way of managing supply chain and value networks. And that has been a focus for the last few years at DELMIA, in particular lately with the introduction of DELMIA Quintic, or the joining forces with DELMIA Quintic within the brand. And that allows us to connect all stakeholders of a value network, to be able to manage them efficiently, to support the best decision making in order to organize that value network as efficiently as possible, and obviously with the ability to constantly tweak it, optimize it in order to get as much value out of it as possible. So, people, planet, profit, focus on human experience and fulfillment of teams at work, virtual twin experience to improve the way we plan and execute, value network, agility and speed in the supply chain. Those are the three topics and the three main axes of development of DELMIA. And I'm sure that in the hours and days to come, you will be able to have more details on those three pillars and how DELMIA can help you, in your journey to a more sustainable operation and manufacturing. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Camilo Gaviria, and I'm the Vice President of Technical Sales in DELMIA. Thank you for joining us in today's World Tour. As you can see, we're all in a very special setup nowadays, and I hope that everybody's keeping safe and doing well. I want to thank you for joining us, and I would like to cover today how DELMIA and the 3D experience can support your business in a sustainable manner. To begin with, I would like to recap a little bit on what the Dassault Systèmes purpose is. As you know, we provide business and people with experiences that allow them to imagine more sustainable innovations and sustainable operations by harmonizing product nature and life. Basically, what this means is that we provide you with the tools, with the environments to allow you to experiment, to simulate, to model all those ideas that will further on enable your business to operate in a sustainable manner while still being profitable and supporting a more sustainable environment. That is a very lofty goal, and my purpose today is to explain how DELMIA plays a very big part in achieving this goal, in providing you with the tools and resources to actually achieve such a lofty goal. In terms of what we do, we bring together the virtual world and the real world of operations, right? So of course, as you can imagine, the virtual has to be modeled, and the models that we actually achieve in the virtual world have to connect in one way or another to what reality presents. From a DELMIA perspective, our focus is to help industries, businesses, and people to collaborate, model their reality, optimize it, and perform their operations in the real world. So as you can imagine, we're that link between the virtual and the real. This hasn't been a big bang approach. This has actually been a journey. We started in 2000 with this journey of being the linking pin between the virtual and the real world. By incorporating innovation capabilities into our solution, what we today know as digital manufacturing, the ability to model your operations, your factories, your products in the virtual world. We grew then into more the areas of executing those models, of actually being able to track the operations of those real assets in the real world and linking them back to the virtual. And later on in 2012, we expanded those capabilities by incorporating the capabilities of optimizing the performance of those models, both in the real world and in the virtual world, with the addition of Quintic. All in all, we're continuously striving to enable our users to be able to reproduce their operations in a virtual world, experiment, innovate in such a way that when the actual operation goes live and starts affecting reality, it's already optimal. It's already understood by the users, by the customers, and to some extent, you minimize the risk of implementing those changes. Beyond that, the daily operations of your business can actually be controlled within our environment in such a way that any type of disturbance that you face from reality can be assessed and optimized and reproduced in a virtual world, such that when you react to it seamlessly in reality, you get the best benefits of them all. As you know, the industry imperative is sustainable global operations. In that sense, we're aiming, as Guillaume mentioned, to support the 3 Ps of sustainable operations. Profits. The DELMIA solutions allow for more profitable decision-making by enabling you to understand every single decision that you're making in a virtual environment and understanding the requirements and the impacts of these decisions in both your assets, your customer base, as well as your suppliers, basically your whole ecosystem. By having a better understanding of the impact of these decisions in your baseline and on your profits, you will be able to have a more sustainable business as such. People are the center point of every business, both because they're the end customer as well as the ones who staff your operations. It's people that operate businesses for people. In that sense, DELMIA provides capabilities and an environment and experience to allow your business to better understand your customers, but it also allows you to understand your employees and provide them with better working environments, safer worker environments. It allows you to streamline the interaction between your employees and your customer base by providing better access to information, for example. By being able to simulate, for example, how a product is created or how a design impacts the way the end customer uses it, it allows you to create products that are more suitable to your customers' needs, right? And in that sense, it ensures that continuously you're sustainably innovating towards a better coverage of your customers' needs and a better coverage of your employees' needs. This ultimately renders both profits because you have less risks and you probably are increasing your share of market and your profits ultimately, but it also ensures that the entire ecosystem is healthier in the sense of more secure, in the sense of better utilized resources. Which leads to the planet, the third P. By having a better utilization, and by better it doesn't necessarily mean more, but more efficient utilization of both assets and resources, you're ensuring that the impact that you have on the planet is not only lowered, but is also more sustainable. Businesses are there to transform the planet into environments that people find useful and desirable, right? So when you create a product, you're literally transforming a material into something that somebody else can use. In the course of that transformation, we want to minimize the impact of that transformation in the planet. You can take it from the environmental axis, but you could also take it from the social axis, right? We want to ensure that the decisions that you're making are well understood such that any impact is both positive and if negative, it's minimized to a point where it can be offset by an additional set of actions, right? And in that sense, by ensuring that all these three axes are working together in a single unified virtual environment, allowing you to understand every decision that you make, controlling it throughout the operation, and ultimately being able to understanding its impact in the long term ensures that the overall operation is sustainable at a global level. Okay, so now I want to go into a little bit of the details of how DELMIA supports the global sustainable operations. And it all begins with collaboration and modeling, basically because of two main topics. Collaboration. We truly believe that collaboration between employees, between the different actors in the business, is the key to knowledge sharing and to maximizing the efficiency of a particular operation, both because information flows are faster when they're enabled via collaboration, but also because the ability to have a consistent way of collaborating and tracing back the information shared throughout those collaboration ensures full understanding of the topics being discussed and addressed. And second, modeling. The ability to model virtually all the environments and all the decisions within a virtual twin allows you to understand how reality will look like without having to go into all the cost of actually making these environments a reality. And what we see, for example, in this video is a very minimal example of the work cell being modeled in 3D with all its real constraints and being explored from the employee's perspective. This allows us, for example, to understand how an employee will interact not only with the cell itself, but with the information associated to the work order that he has to execute. This is a very clear example of how we can accelerate changes in a particular environment by doing them virtually first, testing them, feature-proofing them, and then actually executing them in reality. what we see here is that the employee is actually able to take not only the cell itself, but the parts that need to be assembled. He will immediately see, for example, how that looks like in the system that will be providing the instructions. And of course, we will be able to react and change the layout, for example, if we see something in the virtual world that doesn't quite fit with our expectations as to how this cell should work. This has all been done in a virtual environment, so the relative costs of doing a change are minimized to almost zero, right? This allows us to be quite certain of the operation of a particular part of your business before it actually happens. So now we move into the realm of collaboration and performance. These two domains allow us, these two capabilities allow us to literally collaborate in the process of executing those virtual plans in reality, of performing them. It allows us, for example, to improve quality by providing very quick and accurate feedback as to the execution of a particular task, a particular activity into the virtual environment, such that we can compare what we had originally thought a process or an outcome would look like with what is actually happening in the shop floor. It allows us, for example, to increase the level of visibility that we have around how an operation is working. You can imagine that if we can have a parallel virtual world, where we can see in real time what is happening in the shop floor, and we can, for example, predict a particular behavior of an asset before it actually happens, it will allow us to avoid many of the disturbances that we face in shop floors nowadays. For example, physical constraints being breached by a particular resource moving in a place where it doesn't fit. The fact that a particular batch of product is identified at the shop floor as non-conforming to a quality standard, we can immediately incorporate that information into the virtual environment and already start tracing back what processes have taken place and find out which ones need to be adjusted in the virtual world before we actually execute those actions in the real one. That ability to perform at the same time in the virtual world and in the physical world gives us an enormous amounts of power to control our operations, to understand them, and to be able to trace back our decision making and improve on our own processes. That efficiency is invaluable in terms of designing new processes and operating our day-to-day. Then we move into the domain of optimization and performance. By being able to optimize our operations, by creating better plans that take into account all types of constraints and new information, and feed that back with what's happening right now and calculating the consequences of each of the actions that we're currently taking, allows us to understand what are the best decisions that we can make in order to deliver as much valuable as possible for our customers. For example, if you take a look at what's being shown in the video, here we're absolutely modeling the complete construction of a building in the virtual world, and then tracking the execution of that construction in real time and comparing it against what was originally planned. The ability to track deviations from that original plan and adjust the model in the virtual world allows us to send that information back again to the construction site and provide an optimized plan that adjusts to any new reality. For example, a crane that has had an unplanned maintenance event or an unplanned breakdown all of a sudden needs to be replaced. If we did not have the virtual model, we would have to literally be at the construction site and look at what is the best placement for the new crane? Does it have any physical constraints that we need to take into account? And probably we might not be able to capture everything that is required to have full certainty that the new crane or the new asset is risk-free. By being able to do so in the virtual world and furthermore optimize the plan for the new position of the crane, this would allow us to deliver the maximum possible value to our customer by, for example, keeping the deadlines to the originally planned ones, while still minimizing the cost of such a disruption, because we were able to do all the validations required in terms of safety, ergonomics, and the construction plan itself before we actually went into the site. The ability to have these two worlds highly interconnected, the performance with Apriso and, for example, the optimization with Quintic within the entire virtual environment of DELMIA, allows us to streamline the operation and maximize the value that we're delivering to our customers. Of course, this has to be happening in real time, and it has to be happening in a unified environment. So having these solutions disjoint provides value, but having them in a single unified virtual environment provides the maximum amount of value that they can deliver. As you have seen, we've covered 4 main domains. We've covered the domain of collaboration, where we basically bring the virtual world and the real world together by enabling information exchange between different parts of the operation. We also have the capabilities that are required to model your assets, your operations, your business, your services, and your customers and suppliers within a virtual world, which allows us to incorporate all the constraints that you would typically face in your physical operation within a virtual environment that minimizes risks and enables more flexibility in terms of evaluating different options. We also provide a full environment for optimizing your operations, from the creation of new plans to the real-time reaction to disturbances by using advanced optimization to present the best possible option out of the millions of options that you probably have at every decision point. And last but not least, the performance, the ability to incorporate that physical world and feedback the reality into the virtual world, such that you can react optimally and leverage the most amount of value for every situation that you're facing on the day-to-day. That's sitting on top of the ability to very quickly and efficiently interact with IoT, with edge computing, with enormous amounts of information coming nowadays from the physical world, provides a very robust environment, a very robust experience for your operation to be streamlined and improved. Now, I want to cover how we get there and how DELMIA supports its customers and your businesses in moving from traditional operations to a global sustainable operation framework. As you can imagine, there's many changes that would be required to get into this holistic approach of sustainable operations, and it's actually quite a journey. So we do not believe in the Big Bang approach where everything happens all of a sudden. It's actually a journey that we ourselves have been taking, and that many of our customers have taken hand by hand with us. And we provide support for every single one of the different steps that we believe drive value throughout that journey. If you take a look into the tactical horizon, typically we would suggest that you begin with automation, with including robotics into your operation. These are some of the first steps that manufacturing companies take, that services companies take in terms of, for example, incorporation of new technologies for decision making. And it's really functionally driven. It's really trying to achieve a better performance on a particular area of your operation, of your business. Again, robotics is a very good example for manufacturing, but robot process automation in the back office, for example, for retail, is also a good example of how less tangible technologies have a strong impact in the tactical horizon. Then you move into improving the orchestration of those tactical assets, synchronizing the different parts of the business, synchronizing the different assets in your operation is typically the second step, and that drives more of a profitability improvement rather than a productivity improvement. It makes sure that the decisions made at the different parts of the organization are in line and following a central guideline, a central objective. This, of course, translates into increased profits and minimized costs, but it also translates into more efficient workspaces, more efficient and safer work environments. Ultimately, it also translates to an improved customer experience. And now we're going into the area of people. If you take a look at the right side of this slide, the tactical part relates to increasing the productivity and the profits. And the second part, the more operational improvements, the synchronization of our operation, typically has a more steep impact on the people side of sustainable operations. And at the very top end of the and right-hand side of this chart, you see the more strategic changes that are required. And that's where we believe we provide a very strong partnership. We can lead you and we can help you lead your industry in the incorporation of all these technologies in this virtual experience. Once you've been able to incorporate robotics and all those productivity improvements, you've been able to orchestrate them via robust processes, and you're able to literally have a full virtual twin of your operation within the DELMIA framework. You're actually leading a long-term sustainable operation yourself, right? You're actually being able to minimize the impact on the planet by doing all these smart decisions and smart reactions in a virtual environment first. But beyond that, you're translating all those benefits to the other actors in your value network. Your suppliers, for example, will have a much clearer picture of your requirements, both from a material but also from a business perspective. Clearer contracts, more streamlined collaborations. You're going to be able to provide instant feedback as to what are your needs from a consumption strong point of view. And on the other end of the spectrum, your customers will have a much more pleasurable experience. Their products are going to be more suited to their needs because you've been able to capture significant amounts of information that led to better product design. And not only that, but you have better utilization as to the materials that you use to produce or the resources that you use to provide a service. And by doing so, you're ultimately improving the experience of the customer. And at the end of the day, those two axes lead to better behaviors, both on the supplier side as well as the customer side. But not only that, but because of the fact that your operations have been streamlined, you've been able to make profitable and smart decisions, the likelihood of you making sustainable decisions that have a strong impact in the long term is quite higher. Every single decision that you make is, to some extent, supporting the concept of a sustainable planet, of a sustainable footprint that minimizes the negative effects that our presence in this earth typically has. So in that sense, this journey is something that you need to take step by step, and we are able to provide you some guidance and support in every one of those steps until you achieve a full digital experience that you can translate into value to your customers and to yourself. That basically concludes a little bit of the story of how DELMIA envisions and supports the movement into a sustainable global operation framework, and how our capabilities and our technologies support this journey by providing supporting collaboration, modeling, optimization, and performance, and how ultimately these four domains interact with each other to provide a journey from the tactical changes that you require today all the way down, all the way up to the strategic changes that will drive future sustainable operations. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the World Tour.